Howdy, and welcome to my listeners. This is my favorite video game. I am Josh Gallegos, your host, and I am going to be breaking down all sorts of great things for you this week in the realm of the games industry. As a games critic who studies the industry avidly, you'll be getting, of course, my breakdown of the biggest news topics of the week, as well as a suggestion, if you will. A particular video game that I've enjoyed this week, or one that I would suggest to about anybody. And that'll be my favorite video game, as far as that segment is concerned. Before we get into any of that, though, housekeeping for you. This is my favorite video game, an extension of the Video Game Bard, my YouTube channel of games criticism. We talk about video games, we break down reviews. Right now I have a Bard's Backlog section that's going to be going through a bunch of games that I have ashamedly not been able to cover in the past. But by covering them, you'll be able to get an idea of how I feel about games, the types of things that I look for, and the sorts of things that you can glean from them along the way. As far as podcast listeners go, just so you know, I also have a YouTube version of this podcast where we put together lots of visuals, and I'm going to be working on some more transitionary stuff. You'll hear auditorily that you'll be able to benefit from. Production-wise, I'm improving the podcast, and in fact, that is going to be something else I'd like to address for podcast listeners and YouTubers. There has been a gap in time that you may have noticed. I haven't been posting as much as I would have liked, and that's because of a massive rebranding that's been going on. My favorite video game used to be under Games U, which was the moniker that I was using to develop an idea of a site that I had for a period of time that I'm now transitioning into Video Game Bard. It's going to be my own platform for a little while, and I'm going to have some people contributing to it in a similar fashion that I had with Games U. And the idea is to still inform and educate and improve your well-being and goodness and welfare of life alongside video games. I think that video games can, in fact, enrich our lives on the same vein of a good book in literature. So I'm trying to communicate that in the best way I possibly can. And I think this is going to be the best way to do it. And I think that all of the video game stuff that I have currently in the works, you'll begin to see how it comes together. And you'll see the unification and my passion really come through, because this is something I think I've figured out in a little bit of a better way. So because of that, there was a gap of time, but we'll be able to push out more content going forward. I have, of course, my YouTube set up. You can go check out most of my stuff there, including this podcast in video form. Twitter is where I'll be my platform of choice, where you can come and hear my voice constantly. I'll be talking about the different things going on, what I'm playing. You can see and talk to me there, communicate with me, have any questions, any sorts of feedback that you'd like to give me. Twitter is where you can find me. And then as far as podcast services, this should be available on just about every single one, whether that's Pocket Casts, iTunes Podcasts, Spotify, SoundCloud itself, Stitcher, Google Play. Should be on all of them. And as far as Video Game Bard is concerned, my most recent piece, the Persona 5 breakdown, is finally out. I actually beat Persona 5 earlier this year, started the piece, and left it on the side of the road for a little while, which was unfortunate because I really lost a bit of the immediacy of having finished the game. But thankfully I had written comprehensive notes and was able to break down what I think the information that I had was to a smaller, more bite-sized piece that people who are interested in reading that sort of thing can check out. My favorite video game will be covering Persona 5 at some point, but as far as Video Game Bard is concerned, Persona 5 is already covered. A video will be coming out on that in the future. Right now I'm trying to work on a lores video, and it's becoming more of a challenge than I realized, just because I need footage from multiple different series, and I want to be able to communicate what these types of things, what these types of lore bases are like useful for, essentially. And it's just becoming a lot of work that I'm having to put in more than I was expecting, and I'm excited to do it, but it's just going to take a little bit longer than I expected. So Persona 5 out now, 6 Lores video coming out soon, and then GOTY Watch. It's the end of the year. 2019 is come and gone, guys. It's crazy. December 4th, as of this recording, 2020 is already here, and because of that fact, I'm beginning to have to focus back on the year and what I've played, and begin to look at what my game of the year is going to be. I don't exactly know. I honestly have a lot of games I didn't finish, so I'm going to be spending this month really going back and playing a lot of games that I just didn't have a chance to get to. Borderlands 3 is going to be at the top of my list. Me and my wife are going to co-op through that game, and she's agreed to tag alongside and to binge it with me, so I'll be reporting back on that hopefully in the next week. Speaking of games, let's get into the meat of the podcast, specifically the games I'm playing. This segment is a report on the games that I, the Bard, am playing, and of course anything that I'm going to be creating around the game itself. But these impressions are going to be for you to help you kind of get an idea of what the game is, and then you'll be able to formulate whether or not the game is for you. As far as games I've completed that I'm going to be writing reviews on, I've already started to write reviews on, in fact. Let's start with the big one, the big boy of this fall for me, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. Now, if you have seen me on Twitter at any point, you will know that I love Star Wars Jedi. I have been ranting and raving and absolutely gushing about this game because of its appeal to me. You know, I want to state first and foremost that this is not a perfect game, and you'll see that in my review. Unfortunately, there's a lot of technical errors and issues that I think that the game got pushed out a little bit early. It probably could have used more time to even expand some of the concepts that it has. It feels like a complete game, but at the same time, if you look at the timeline and what happened with EA, it almost feels like they were forced to put out a Star Wars game to appease Disney, to not lose their license of using this, and the responsibility fell on Respawn. And the powerful thing is that they were able to deliver. They gave us this fantastic game. But I do think that the game suffered in its own way in the rush, because it's a little bit smaller than you might expect. It's only probably 15 to 20 hours, depending on your skill level. Other games in its vein, just to give an idea, are often 40, maybe even 60 hours. So it's certainly a little bit shorter. And then on top of that, with all the different technical errors, it just feels like it wasn't quite ready. Nonetheless, I'm more than happy to be a quote-unquote playtester for this freaking game because it is amazing. Now, this is a gamer's game, and again, I don't want to give away too much because I'll have my review out and you'll be able to read my thoughts there, but I just want to say, more than anything, if I wanted to summarize what this game has meant in my impressions thus far to me, is that this is a video game that fully captures what it means to be a Jedi. And that is powerful because we haven't experienced that in video game form in decades, I would say. There hasn't been a great Star Wars game in so long, and there is a power and a poise to Jedi that I think most games haven't, even like the Force Unleashed games, I think almost immediately have failed to capture. Those kind of show the raw power of the Force, I would say, and they're great in that way. But a Jedi has a little bit more nuance to it, and this game really captures that not only in its story, but also in the gameplay itself. You can even see the difference in the game itself when you walk into a room of stormtroopers. A regular dude is just going to flail his lightsaber around and probably get his butt kicked by these stormtroopers. Surprisingly, this game is very difficult. A big trait of mine that I love, but I understand is going to actually push a lot of people who maybe don't game very often, casual gamers who are interested in a Star Wars game, might have a difficult time and may want to drop this game to a lower difficulty. But the difficulty to me is incredibly appealing because I love me a hard game. And the fact that these stormtroopers are even putting up such a difficult fight and giving you these nuanced battles of back and forth make you feel like a Jedi if you pull it off with poise, if you actually think about what you're doing as you swing your sword, your light sword. You can pull off some great feats, and the difference between a flailer and a Jedi is clear in those moments. So be looking out for my review on Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. It's a fantastic game. Of course, I'm sure if you've been interested in the game, you've already got it. If you haven't, just let me tell you right now, get it. This is a once-in-a-decade even Star Wars game, so I would recommend it to just about anybody. The second game that I'm going to be putting out a review for, hopefully within the next week or so, is Yooka-Laylee and the Impossible Lair. Finally catching up on this game. And this will be more of a Bard's Backlog coverage, not more of a recent game like Star Wars Jedi. But I love this game. I don't even know exactly where to start with it because it's hitting a lot of beats for me that I've always sought in my platformers. I would consider myself a platformist, and in that I am an expert in the genre. That's one of the genres that I would say I play very thoroughly. Most games I try to touch at least once or twice in the genre at some point, and I have conquered and defeated many of the more difficult ones. I, of course, love and look forward to every single Super Mario game. This is my genre as far as I'm concerned. So I would consider myself a platformist, and Yooka-Laylee and the Impossible Lair is a fantastic platformer. Now, in my review, I'll be able to break down the different ideas between gameplay and its hub world that really bring out the charm of this world. But I just want to say here that I'm surprised that we even got something as in-depth as we have from this developer. Not that they didn't do a great job with the previous Yooka-Laylee game, which was supposed to be more in the vein of Banjo-Kazooie. Yooka-Laylee and the Impossible Lair, which is an entirely new game, not a DLC, is more like Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, which is one of my favorite platformers of all time. So, first off, it has big shoes to fill, but second off, if it does fill those shoes, oh man, it does it. It can pull off something incredibly great. And Yooka-Laylee and the Impossible Lair not only does so, I think it fills in the Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze shoes as far as the platform is concerned. The actual stages themselves probably aren't as great as I'd love them to be, as I'd hope that they would be, but they're just enough charm, there's just enough of a variety, and there's a whole twist on having a dual type level development in almost every single level in the game that makes them each feel exciting, refreshing, and the way that they're all tied to this new novel concept of an overworld that almost feels like a Legend of Zelda overworld just really hits home for me. And it's just my kind of game. I've been loving it. I haven't quite beaten the actual Impossible Lair itself, I will be honest. And I'm hoping to do that in the next couple days before I get that review out. But it is a difficult game. As far as the other levels of concern, I've almost gotten all of the coins in each of the levels. And, of course, I have played each level and explored the map pretty thoroughly at this point because I just enjoyed doing that more than anything. But the hub world itself feels like a toy box. It feels like a home that you can explore, like you landed in a foreign land and you can just poke around and just see something new around every corner. That's the kind of feeling it gives you, and it's great to just explore. And that's not a feeling that's easy to pull off, especially in a platformer. So I give Yooka-Laylee and the Impossible Lair props for that. So be looking out for that backlog review coming out from me, the Video Game Bard, here in the future. With that in mind, we're going to be looking at the news in gaming this week. Because my oh my, this industry has a lot of things going on every single week, and we don't want to miss any of it. I will say, some of the stuff I'm going to choose might not necessarily be the biggest and the best to everybody, but it's the biggest and the best to me, okay? This news is what I think is the most important that has come from this last week, and going into next week, I'll be able to break down some other stuff. Now, this last week, we actually had a bit of a quieter news week, and some of the things that have happened while I've been away, in fact, have been big and bombastic, and I'm not going to break down everything because it's been a couple of weeks. So there's been a lot of stuff. So I'm going to only sections off the last few days, or the last several days anyway, and really focus on the news stories that are semi-recent. That way, things are concurrent, and going forward, I can stay on top of it and really hit the big topics a little more clearly. But as of right now, let's look at number 1 on our Bard's Breakdown. Sony achieves the Guinness World Record on its 25th anniversary. This story from Twinfinite. Giuseppe Nalva written. Today, Sony Interactive Entertainment Japan and Asia hosted the 2019 ceremony of the PlayStation Awards at the traditional Grand Prince Hotel New Tanakawa venue in Tokyo. At the beginning of the ceremony, President and CEO Jim Ryan stepped on stage to receive a special award. PlayStation was declared Guinness World Record holder as the best-selling video game console brand worldwide. According to Guinness, PS4, PS3, PS2, and PS1 sold 450,190,000 units combined as of November 7th, 2019. Just yesterday, Jim Ryan himself sent a celebratory message to underline today's 25th anniversary of the release of the original PlayStation. If you'd like to learn more about the performance of the PlayStation vendors, you can check out the latest news directly from Sony, which we will in just a moment. So this is quite a feat, and the fact that Sony is at the top of the gaming world is at first not a surprise. But on the other hand, when you look down and break down the reality of just looking back on their history, they had no idea exactly what industry they were getting into when they first got into it, but they did it in such a smart way. They were almost immediately able to take away a chunk of the market share from competitors Sega and Nintendo. And they did end up filling sort of a gap that Sega had created for itself. But the fact that they started out at such a young age and have achieved so much in that short span is quite impressive. So let's look at this blog post, in fact, from Jim Ryan, president and CEO of Sony Interactive Entertainment. And he wrote this just the other day in the celebration of this anniversary. On December 3rd, 1994, 25 years ago this week, the first PlayStation made its global debut in Japan. Starting from a humble beginning as an upstart within Sony, Ken Kutaragi and team delivered on a vision to elevate video games as a form of entertainment that everyone could enjoy, and to make a platform for game developers to express their creativity. The original PlayStation sold 100,000 units in Japan on its first day, and went on to become the first ever home console to surpass 100 million units sold globally. We struck a chord with the gaming community because PlayStation offered experiences beyond what anyone could ever imagine was possible with a home console. From the very start, we opened our arms to developers, providing them with the tools and technology to create beautiful, expansive worlds, and to experiment with new ideas. That approach led to the diversity of games PlayStation is known for, a true hallmark for our brand across multiple generations of hardware platforms. Over the past 25 years, PlayStation has stood at the forefront of gaming, and I'm honored to have been a part of the team since the early days. As I was helping set up the business in Europe, I remembered having a start from scratch with many things, from hiring employees to ordering furniture. Back then, we focused on catering to local markets to ensure that a gamer in Poland would feel a part of the broader PlayStation community just as much as someone in the UK or Japan or the US. Support by passionate fans all around the world, our business has grown significantly, and our focus on community is more important than ever. It's truly humbling to see fans who grew up on PlayStation passing down their love of gaming to their children who are now playing on PS4. On behalf of all of us at PlayStation, thank you for taking this journey with us. We can't wait to celebrate what comes next with you. Aww. But seriously, congratulations to PlayStation and their 25th anniversary. Good on them for making that type of mark, not only on the industry, but culture at large. And it's reverberated constantly throughout the industry, and they're still at the top today. Super Mario Maker 2 has an update. this a breakdown from Nintendo Life. Super Mario Maker 2's version 2.0 update arrives this week, and it's bringing with it the Master Sword from The Legend of Zelda, which gives you the power to transform into Link, the hero of time. Then they have a breakdown directly from Nintendo PR, which we'll read. After downloading the version 2.0.0 update, the new Master Sword item will be available to use exclusively in the 8-bit Super Mario Bros. Style. When this new course part is picked up, Mario will transform into Link, equipped with a new set of moves like attacking with a sword, shooting arrows, and dropping bombs. In the recently released The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening for Nintendo Switch, Link encounters familiar characters from the Super Mario games like Piranha Plants and Goombas. But this time, Link is joining a Super Mario game in Super Mario Maker 2. Transforming into Link using the Master Sword opens up a whole new world of design possibilities for creators. Using his arrows, Link can shoot far-off switches that Mario would normally not be able to hit, an interesting feature. His new down-thrust move with the sword will defeat usually protected enemies like spike-covered Spinies, and with bombs, some walls that would normally be impassable by Mario and friends can easily be blown up. In addition to Link, the update also adds more course parts and enemies, as well as a new Ninja Speedruns mode, perfect for players looking for a challenge. Dash block, and here's a breakdown of the actual items themselves that have been added to Super Mario Maker 2. That's all Bard saying that, not the PR people from Nintendo. Just wanted to clarify. I am here, my voice as well. I'm sorry if you got lost in the reading, but stay with me, boys and girls. We're getting through. Dash block, available in the Super Mario 3D World style. The dash block course part gives Mario a major speed burst when stepped on, just into the Super Mario 3D World style. Frozen coin. These coins are surrounded by a block of ice and can only be released if melted by fireballs or other fire elements, including a certain angry sun. Kinda cool. P block. When a P switch is hit in the course, invisible P blocks temporarily turn into hard platforms or vice versa. Spike. The classic enemy coughs up massive spike balls and launches them at Mario. Launches them at Mario. If used in the snow environment, Spike will toss snowballs instead. Pokey. The iconic stacked cactus from multiple Super Mario games joins Super Mario Maker 2 for the first time. Players can even edit the height of each Pokey. In the new Ninja Speedruns mode, the PR press continues, players can take on a time challenge in courses created by Nintendo, exclusively for this mode. Other players' Ninja Ghosts will run alongside players as they compete against rivals from around the world. The Ninja Ghosts that appear are selected from player data at a similar performance level, so players can gradually improve their performance by running the course alongside other players' Ninja Ghosts. Players can also collect stamps by clearing courses and redeem them in-game to get special Mii costumes. Each Ninja Speedrun event will run for about 1 week, with new courses distributed periodically. During the event, players will be ranked by their playtime in that course. Players can also still run the course alongside Ninja Ghosts and collect stamps even after the event period has ended. This update drops tomorrow, Thursday, December 5th. Honestly, this is pretty exciting, and the fact that they're giving so much of us, or so much content to all of us in the game, even now, and it's all free, really speaks to Nintendo's fantastic use of DLC content, especially in the last few years. I feel like they've just been knocking it out of the park, and this is another example of that. Link is essentially a whole new way to play the game. Like, he's got ways of shooting arrows in different directions, bombs that'll blow up walls that were never made there before. Like, throwing him into a level totally changes the design that you can throw into the entire thing, and that really is what this game is all about. Giving the creator options to create even more types of levels. I put out there on Twitter that I'd be interested in even going back to Mario Maker 2 and playing more. I honestly didn't get into it as much as I had hoped or created as much as I had liked because I love creating levels. And this update gives me a great opportunity to jump back in, and I just might do that over the course of the next weekend. I got so many games on my plate, though. You know what I'm saying? So many to play. On top of that, like, a lot of these other elements really are in depth. Like, this frozen coin option changes how you approach a game or how you approach a level. And if there are like fire hazards going on, fireballs going through the air and whatnot, it poses a whole new unique challenge that feels dynamic and gives you a really cool way of just toying with these different elements. And on top of that, the ninja stuff, if you look at the speed run, which was probably the most boring part of the article when I was reading it, that's actually really cool looking. It looks a lot like Super Meat Boy. And if you know how that kind of plays out, you can kind of see the other players, or you can see your past lives, rather, as you get through a level. And you can see yourself die, and you follow through your winner, whoever the final dude was who actually finished the game. You see them all go at once. It's a really cool effect, and this is basically the exact same thing, but using little ninjas. And I think it's great. It's a great addition. All of these things, awesome little additions to the game. I just wanted to point out great news coming from Nintendo and their wheelhouse of stuff going on, especially Mario Maker 2. Still living, still breathing, and kicking good content out every now and then, and I can't complain. I wanted to get to a couple of deals because of my good cousin Aaron, who wanted me to really break down deals during last week's couple events. Maybe you've heard of them, Black Friday and Cyber Monday. Small things, small little events, I would say, that occur online only. No one else really knows what goes on in the real world. Nobody gets killed or anything by them. In any case, he wanted me to break stuff down last week. I didn't post anything. I apologize, Aaron. I was busy. I was trying to rework on some of the other stuff. But here we have it now. This is what's still going on as of December 4th. I can tell you right now that this stuff is live. There are some great Nintendo Switch deals for you, and these are all thanks to IGN breakdowns. They always have some good lists of information and deals going on. There are a couple of really good Nintendo Switch deals going on at the Walmart, actually. They have a Mario Red Bundle version 2 for $2.99. Hyper rare Joy-Con controllers with that system, from what I understand. There's also a Starlink starter kit version at Best Buy for the same price. A Switch Lite is $180 at Woot. You can get some memory cards for decent prices on Amazon, so a lot of the mini SD cards are on sale. I would suggest getting those. There's a lot of great, solid storage that you can have. 512 gigabytes for $65 on an SD card. That's how much our storage has improved in recent times. So I would suggest it, even if you don't want to use it for your Switch, but it's a great addition for a Switch. And on top of that, looks like there are some bundles. Oh, actually, these are pictures of the bundles themselves. Looks like that's about it. There's a couple of power bank options for the Nintendo Switch as well. As far as games go, there are a ton of games on sale on Amazon, including Mario Tennis Aces. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is on sale at Walmart, and so is Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games. Mario Deluxe on sale at Amazon. Spyro on sale on Amazon. Both Pokemon Sword and Shield are $5 off on Amazon. I don't know if that's enough to get you to buy the game. Mario Maker 2, $50 on it. Walmart. Mario Party, $40 on Amazon. Smash Bros, $57 on Amazon. Xenoblade Chronicles 2, $40 on Amazon. Zelda Breath of the Wild, $40 on Amazon. Link's Awakening, $50 at Walmart. Those are all fantastic games, and there are even more $30 or less Switch games, including Minecraft at Walmart, Captain Toad at Amazon. A lot of really good options if you want to get some games still available, especially if you just browse through Amazon. You can probably get a digital copy or a physical one shipped to you within a couple days. There are a lot of accessories on sale as well that you can look through. Amazon looks like it has almost all of them. So if you searched Switch accessories, a lot of their deals will probably pop up. As far as outside of the Nintendo Switch, we can look at PlayStation 4 deals here for a quick second. These ones are still live as of December 4th, 2019, which is when I'm recording this. You can get a PS4 Pro terabyte console for $333 on Amazon still. There's a PlayStation 4 only PlayStation bundle, $271 on Amazon. If you've been thinking about picking up a console, now's the time, especially a Pro. That's a really good price for a Pro. I would love to get that if I had the money right now. Unfortunately, I don't. I already have a PS4 too, so I can't be just spending money willy-nilly. PS4 actually, because PS4 controllers can be quite expensive. I've Learned the hard way. Hard drives as well. Hard drives for the PS4, I highly recommend. If you want to be a true gamer, hashtag true gamer, get a hard drive, an external one that you can just plug right in. They sync pretty quickly with the system, and then you can store a lot more games on it that way. I store catalogs that way. I can sort my games. I'm very obsessive with sorting my games. I'm not sure why. It's just an easy way for me to procrastinate, I feel like. Outside of that, there are a couple bundles of PlayStation 4s that come with lots of games. Like I said, the $271 PlayStation 4 bundle actually comes with 3 games: Horizon, God of War, and Last of Us. Holy crap. Get that. PSVR's on sale. I want one of those, Mom. Lots of games, mostly on Amazon. Quickly glancing through, you can get Borderlands 3 for $35 on Amazon. That's a brand new game. Days Gone, a fantastic open game, $27 on Amazon. Crash Team Racing is $31 on Amazon. Dishonored 2, a follow-up to one of the greatest games of all time, $9.98 on Amazon. Great steal there if you like single-player stealth action games. Glancing through a little more, Medieval's $20 on Amazon. That's a bit of a steal. Sekiro's $25 on Amazon. Red Dead Redemption $40 on Amazon. Spiral Reignited Trilogy $27 on Amazon. Lots of pre-ordered games you can get right now for a steal, including Doom Eternal, Marvel's Avengers, and Final Fantasy VII, if you're interested, all on Amazon. Lots of accessories, headsets, remotes, lots of things. I'm just going to say that right now, including the PlayStation Classic on sale for $30 at Walmart. They're out there, folks. Walmart and Amazon specifically still trying to compete and run these deals and get as much out of you this Black Friday week, I guess, is what it's becoming. So take advantage if you can. Also, I know digitally on any of these platforms, there are massive sales going on. I would suggest glancing through those. You can get a lot and glean a lot of information from them. With that in mind, let's get to our last Bard's Breakdown item of news this week. YouTube relaxing its rules on video game violence. Yippee! Good for me! And that's because I post a lot of violent video game stuff. Hoo-hoo! And a policy enforcement update. This via Kotaku, by the way. Posted earlier today. YouTube announced a series of changes coming to the site's content moderation. Most of them centered around new distinctions between actual real-world violence and the scripted or simulated violence you see in video games. Starting today, quote, scripted or simulated violent content found in video games will be treated the same as other types of scripted content, unquote, rather than as depictions of actual violence. Good news. Uploads made in the future that depict video game violence may also be, quote, approved instead of being age-restricted, unquote. This basically means that less videos will be age-gated going forwards for simply showing scenes of video game violence, with a catch. Clips focusing on gory parts of a game or violence is the sole focus may still be age-restricted, obviously. YouTube's advertising policy, meanwhile, remains exactly the same. So violent videos can still have their ability to sell commercials limited, and that is up to the advertiser, of course. This from Kotaku. Thank you very much for that information, Kotaku. Now, as far as that information goes, good, I would say. YouTube's been making a lot of weird moves, but I think they're trying to balance themselves out as a platform and become a little more cohesive. They finally launched their YouTube Studio, I noticed, and they've also, of course, had the big change in their child designation as far as like made for children or not content. As far as my channel goes, I'm just saying it's for everybody. I don't curse, so if kids watch this, then they'll at least get information about video games. That's about all I do. And if a video game is violent, like maybe I'll try to cut some of that. But even here, like it's really not that big of a deal according to YouTube. So yeah, I like that. It kind of gives me a few more options. And, you know, it shows that YouTube is still working on the creator side a little bit. And we'll see if they'll continue to make changes along these lines going forward. Now, I typically have a live reacts section. And unfortunately, I did not grab any trailers off the top before the show. I thought I had, but let's do this real quick. I'm just going to go to a treasure trove of trailers that I have on YouTube that shall remain nameless. It is my secret treasure trove. And we're going to look at what particular trailers have launched this last week. Not No Time to Die, although I do know that looks great. And let's watch a couple. At least one. Let's watch one. Lots of games coming out last month and at the beginning of this. I guess not this month, but I guess all of last month, November, is kind of when the last of the big games came out. So less trailers, I'm sure, from this last week. But let's see what we can find. You know what? Call of Duty Modern Warfare official Season 1 trailer. I could watch the Mario stuff. Nah. Call of Duty. Hello, ads. We'll skip this in 5 seconds. Lock and load into the biggest free content drop in Call of Duty history. Free content drop. Okay. So you guys are finally putting out what Apex Legends, Fortnite, and other free games have been doing for a couple of years now. Instead of charging for every single freaking map that you put out. Well, thanks, I guess. That was a short trailer. It kind of just said that more things were coming, and I am okay with that. I don't like that it changed the actual like thumbnail logo on my PS4 screen and it says Season 1. I just think that's tacky. I wish it was just the title. That appears more glorious in my eyes. Did I say more glorious just now? I did. I did indeed. Let's watch another one. Let's see what else we got. Man, I need something good. There's the Mario Maker 2 update trailer. Testy. Let's not. Can't do it. Not yet. So many games out there and no trailers. What is up with that? How about we watch Crimson Desert? Plan 8. I like Plan 8. This is interesting. I don't know what this is. Plan 8 official reveal trailer drops November 22nd, 2019. Graphics look cool. It's a burning plane. Cinematic. Ooh, it's pretty actual. I like it when they put that there. I like that. Robots, doggies, and terrified deer and the horse. Okay, this looks cool. Plan 8. I didn't know. Okay, cool. I don't know what this game actually is, but it's cinematic. Lots of shooties and whoa, that lady is part robot. Is she evil though? She looks kind of evil. Are the robots all bad? Wait, exosuit, cigar, makes them cool. Okay, so you get exosuit abilities. It looks like it might be a third person. It looks really cool, guys. Honestly, look at him crunchy his munchie. He's slicing his ability in half. And don't forget his ability to take up a door. You need that. Robots are cool. I don't know what this game is, but it's cool looking. No dialogue. Perfect. I hate hearing people. Is this basically Terminator? Is this what this is? Oh, we're back to the beginning. Dialogue. They lost.
Not again.
Who's developing this? When is this coming out? Give me some information. Pearl Abyss Corp. I wanna know. What is it? Let's look in the comments. The comments. For some reason, I don't believe what we're seeing is actual gameplay. Gaming Authority, you're probably right. This looks cool into the word MMO. There we go. There we go. Was associated with it. This is an MMO, guys. I knew it. Too good to be true. Plan 8. With that in mind, let's go ahead and wrap up the episode with our video game pick of the week. This is our, of course, main segment and why my favorite video game exists. If you are looking for video game suggestions, look no further. Listen closely and lean in to whatever you have. If you have a mic, if you have headphones, push them further into your ear. If you're in a car, lean forward, no matter how dangerous it might be, as far forward as you possibly can until you are basically planking. Because I am about to reveal my pick of the week. I've been playing a lot of games recently, here and there, dibble-dabbling, and I've been trying to do a little bit better about actually finishing the games that I've started. But one game in the last few weeks has really been my go-to as far as leisure play, and it's a game I've played in the past. So I'm not too worried about beating it. But having the accessibility on Switch has been great, and having it come into my life at this time has been awesome as a reprieve from the games that I've been playing, like Star Wars or Dark Souls 3 earlier, whenever I have more of a difficult game to get through. This is my go-to game as a relaxing, just fun little quirky game, and that is Katamari Damacy Reroll specifically. It's a fantastic little Japanese game, available on Switch now, and I believe on PlayStation 4. I should probably not talk out of my booty hole and see if it is. Katamari Damacy Reroll. Let's see, on PS4. Sign it. Nope, not on it. Okay, so it's just on the Nintendo Switch currently, and of course on previous platforms like the PlayStation 2. It's an old game from about that era. It's a bizarre concept, I'm going to be honest with you, but it's a simple execution. You're the giant, or no, you're not the giant. You're a tiny guy, but the giant king of the cosmos, who you'll see in juxtaposition to planets, is incredibly huge. Has tasked you as the prince, and you're this tiny prince, only a couple centimeters tall, with filling the sky with stars again by collecting junk. So essentially, you're this little guy. The prince, or the king of the cosmos, has told you, hey, I need more stars. Because it turns out, I think, in the game, that he actually ate all the stars, which is weird, but he eats stars. He likes them. He thinks they're crunchy. He's always talking about how yummy they look, which is kind of funny. The humor throughout the game, which I'll talk about in a second, is really what makes this game so charming. But on top of that, the actual execution of what's going on can be interesting in and of itself. But you have to understand this concept first. So he wants you to create stars for him. In order to do that, you have to go create junk balls, basically. And you go to Earth. So he drops you on Earth. You're this tiny little dude. If you look at the scale aspect of it, you're probably about the size initially of a small potted plant. Actually, even smaller than that. Probably the size of an eraser. And you as the prince then begin to roll things up. You start with something small, and as you get bigger and bigger of a ball, you begin to be able to pick up other things, and things magically stick to your ball of junk because you're the prince of the cosmos. He has sticky abilities, basically. But you move your character around using both sticks on the controller, which makes it very interesting and unique and controlling, kind of a little slippery. And as you move around and grow the ball of junk into an ever-increasing mass, you reach your goal, whatever size of the star that it needs to be, and then you present it to the king of the cosmos. The levels are timed. The king tells you at the beginning he's only going to tolerate your ability to gather for so long until he is disgusted, basically. The ball of junk then becomes a star in the sky if you complete the task in time, which pleases the king, which is also disturbing because I'm pretty sure that means he's going to eat it again a little later. I told you this is a bizarre Japanese game, but it's great. And that's basically it. Each level, as you go through, as you roll the different things, you have little mechanics added, maybe a little bit of a different goal. Like at one point, you were supposed to just collect crabs. You're supposed to try to avoid everything else in the level. And in fact, the crabs, when they stick to your little ball, they shake. And as there's more and more added to it, there's just hundreds of little feet shaking, and it's so gross looking. It's great. Things like that add to the game's charm. The design itself, the way that things stick, the different types of items, and the ways that the levels progress, they get more difficult. Time limits get longer, and then so do the tasks. The tasks get bigger. You have to make a bigger ball in a shorter amount of time, that sort of thing. And pushing around can be difficult. In fact, if you're not paying attention and you're pushing around a little too fast, you're going to push your ball into things that are too big, and other parts of your ball that you've already gathered are going to fall off, making you smaller, taking you away from your goal. So you have to be careful as you navigate. And navigation, you'll begin to see, even if you just turn on the game. It's very unique, and it's hard to describe just talking about it over a podcast. But as you roll around, the looseness of the way that you control, you have to be in sync with both of your thumbs, really makes it incredibly unique experience, something you can't really get in any other video game as far as I can tell. The fun comes in those controls, and it makes you actually feel like you're pushing on the ball and collecting junk. That's the idea they're going for. And they reside entirely in the thumbsticks. And once they're mastered, once you can master those controls, then collecting the junk, seeing that ball get bigger, becomes such a satisfaction on its own. So not only do you have the premise itself being kind of goofy and fun, the King of the Cosmos is hilarious. Everything he says, every part of dialogue is just interesting and weird. And reading it out loud is really funny. Like, my wife often comes by and sees me playing the game and will ask what the heck is going on. Then she'll read it and be like, and just laugh out loud at the ridiculousness of the dialogue. But once you start to master the actual gameplay as well, you begin to see some charm. One basic rule that you should do is try to avoid anything big, like I said. And the king also mentions avoiding anything living, but you really don't need to. Nothing bad is counted to you if you accidentally suck up a cat or two or anything like that. And I would just say it's a fantastic level sort out and amount of content. It's only probably 8 to 12 hours, depending on how much you really want to put into it. So I would say it's just a nice little snack of a game. And it's one that everyone, I think, can try. On the Nintendo Switch, you can get it right now. So that would be my pick for this week. And with that comes the end of our podcast. Thanks for listening to My Favorite Video Game. We have a fantastic episode coming up next week that I can't wait to share with you guys. So be sure to tune in to that. It's going to be the new format that I've been trying to push forward several weeks, and we're going to be trying it out finally. And then going forward, we're going to have a lot of other things coming, so be sure to tune in and stay plugged into everything going on here so that you're not as lost as I am. Thanks for listening, guys. This is Josh Gallegos signing out.